Hey folks, in keeping with the vein of keeping in the fight, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit today about handgun malfunctions. To do this, I'm going to incorporate a tool that I've already talked to you about, which is dummy rounds. Dummy rounds are a great training tool, and if you're safe and make sure that you remove all your live rounds from your body and set them in the other room, there's no reason why you can't do a lot of these drills right in the comfort of your own home. I got these dummy rounds from ultimatearmsgear.com. They're moderately priced. You need maybe 10 just to do your drills at home. Today we're going to talk about 4 different malfunctions. Depending on where you were trained, you'll hear different names for these. The way that I've learned is Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3 malfunction, and then something else that we're going to talk about. Okay, Class 1 malfunction is simply failure to feed or failure to fire. A Class 2 malfunction is called a stovepipe. A Class 3 malfunction is called a double feed or obstruction. And the fourth one that I'd like to talk to you about today is a squib round. Okay, first, on a Class 1 malfunction, the simplest of them. On a Class 1 malfunction, you pull the trigger and you get a click. And one of two things has probably happened. Either your magazine is not seated and a round did not chamber, or number 2, you have a bad round that the firing pin hit onto the primer and it did not detonate. Your actions for this are very simple. Many of you have learned this already, and it's called tap, rack, bang. Basically what you have is you've squeezed the trigger and you have a click. Your action is going to be tap the bottom of the magazine to ensure that it's seated. Reach over the top, grab the top of the slide, chamber another round. Back on target and reassess. Demonstrating a Class 1 malfunction. Click, tap, rack. Click, tap, rack. Next malfunction that we're going to talk about is a Class 2 malfunction. A Class 2 malfunction is known as a stovepipe. Now you can either practice this with a dummy round or with a round that has already been fired, just some empty brass. Basically what you have is this configuration. The round has extracted, and during ejection, for whatever reason, it has become stuck just there. The reason that you will know that you have this malfunction is you will have a mushy trigger, and or the sights may be obstructed by that stovepipe in your way. I'm going to show you 2 different ways to clear this malfunction. You need to experiment with each, find which works for you, and stick with it, and then train to muscle memory. The first way to clear this malfunction is essentially just a sweep and clear. Sweep and clear is plain and simple. You just put your hand over the top and sweep it away, back on target. Reassess and fire if necessary. Now, let me tell you what the problem with this is. The problem with this, press check, I did not chamber another round. That will happen sometimes. So what does that cause? That causes a Class 1 malfunction, tap, rack, bang. The second method that I am going to show you to clear this malfunction is to simply reach across the top as if you were chambering a round, grasp the top of the slide, pull it all the way to the rear, tilt it slightly, listen, look for it to fall, and release it chambering another round. To check, press check. Yes, I did in fact clear that malfunction and insert and fed another round into the chamber. Class 2 malfunction, the first way that I showed you. Sights are obstructed, mushy trigger. Sights are obstructed, mushy trigger. Class 2 malfunction, the second way that I showed you. Sights obstructed, mushy trigger, reach over the top, grab, tilt, release. Sights obstructed, mushy trigger, reach over the top, grab, tilt, release. Class 3 malfunction is a double feed. This does not occur very often on a modern handgun. However, you need to train for it in case it does happen. For whatever reason, you've got a traffic jam right there, and you need to clear it out. The first thing, seek cover, because you have some work to do. If you're working with a team, you want to say, checking. You want to let them know that you've got a problem. If you have some cover available, get behind it. Here is the drill for clearing a Class 3 malfunction. Look, identify it. How did you know you had a malfunction? You've got a mushy trigger. The sights may be obstructed, but upon looking to identify, is it a stovepipe? No, I've got more of a major malfunction going on there. So what we're going to do is look, lock, strip, work the action, reload, and get back in the fight. So basically, we've got look, identifying, lock. Go ahead and lock the slide to the rear. Strip the magazine. Sometimes with a double feed, you will have to pull that magazine out. Am I going to reload that same magazine? No. If possible, do not reload that magazine because it may be a magazine failure. Strip it out. Then work the action. But you're looking at the same time. Is it clear? Yes. Go ahead, reload. Back on target, back in the fight. Class 3 malfunction, mushy trigger. Look and identify it. Checking! Look, lock, strip. Work the action. Fresh magazine. Class 3 malfunction, mushy trigger. Look and identify it. Checking! Look, lock, strip. Work to action. Fresh magazine. I want to talk to you about one more malfunction that does not get spoken on enough. And this malfunction is called a squib round. A squib round is a failure of your ammunition. What occurs in a squib round is it's a round where there may be no powder inserted in there. So you've got a primer only. Or the powder may be wet or old. What occurs is your firing pin strikes the primer of that round and you will feel a light recoil and perhaps hear a light pop sound when the firearm fires. When that occurs, if at all possible, if you are in any training scenario, you need to cease operations, unload, and inspect that firearm. Because what may have occurred is that primer was enough to push that round out of the casing and down into your barrel. Now you have a projectile, a bullet, lodged in your barrel. The next time you fire without clearing that malfunction may result in catastrophic failure of your firearm and in fact have it explode in your face. Now, if this occurs when you are authorized to use deadly force, when you are about to die anyway, well, I highly recommend that you go ahead and squeeze that trigger and take that chance anyway. But do not attempt to push one bullet out of the barrel with another. Okay, that's about all there is to it. Remember that fourth malfunction, that squib round, that can be deadly to you. If this occurs when you're in a training environment, stop your training, finger off the trigger, unload your firearm, take apart that firearm and inspect it. Make sure that it's clear. I hope this has helped you. Stay safe.